Welcome to another episode of Not for the Weak Minded. This episode is about patents and the global Earth model, essentially. But to start with, we're going to have a little history lesson on the word mesmerize, and what it means, where it comes from, and why it's important for you to understand that you have been mesmerized. You have been put under hypnosis. Everyone is under mass hypnosis. Every single one of us is being drugged, right? With fluoride in the water and all the chemicals in the food to make us more docile and obedient, so that we obey our overlords, those people that rule us, who, unfortunately today, are selflessly, they're not selflessly, they're selfishly destroying the earth under the guise of science, under the guise of centuries of lies, because everyone has been mesmerized. They're transfixed on something that can never be true, which once you start to see the truth, once you wake up a little, you start to see the truth more and more. Whether that's actually, the chemtrails every day, the geoengineering, whether that's, the signs and symbols of the elite communicating on the television, whether that is actually you see the people on the television that are tricking you with technologies, even further still, that some of them are reptilian. Some of their movements within their facial movements, for example, the eyes, are subtle, but if you know what to look for, you know that it's not a human behavior. So to hypnotize, essentially, someone. So the birth of hypnosis in history, okay? Now we could go further back. If we go here, I will put the links up in the description. But you can start here, hypnosis in history, and it goes back a long, long, long time. So, hypnosis, as we know it today, had its origins in the unique medical practices of Dr. Franz Anton Mesmer, a physician who lived in Vienna, Austria during the mid-18th century. Mesmer was a fervent believer in the more esoteric aspects of Western medical tradition, including the influence of astronomy and magnets on human health. In 1774, during a magnetic treatment with a female patient, Mesmer felt that he perceived a fluid flowing through the woman's body whose flow was affected by his own will. He eventually named this fluid and its manipulation animal magnetism and developed an elaborate theory regarding its effect on health. Mesmer believed that every individual had magnetic fluid flowing through channels throughout his or her body, and that blockages in the flow of this fluid caused emotional and physical disease. He believed that certain individuals had more or less innate animal magnetism and therefore varied in their ability to manipulate the flow of this fluid. What if he's talking about energy instead? The flow of the chi, right? Your energy. So with his mind, he can manipulate a person's energy. Do you get that? And that can affect the entire body because it's one. Right? You affect the mind, you affect the body. Everyone's pretty much, whether they want to admit it or not, because of the world we live in, they've got some kind of mental problem. You know what I mean? None of us are sane, really, when we think about our own actions, and especially when you wake up and you realise you say things without even realising they're, like, you're saying it or doing it, with the hand gestures, which is all, the more confusing part of trying to work out if that's someone's learnt behaviour through the television or if that's someone actually using it as a language. You see? For example, it's complicated, but you do get there once you, again, look at enough material. So yeah, he could influence the flow of this fluid with his mind. So in the late 1770s, Mesmer moved to Paris and found more interested students there in Vienna. The process of animal magnetism, or mesmerism, laid the foundations for later development of hypnosis. So every time you turn on television, you're listening to the media, you trust in the propaganda that's unfortunately coming from the education system on both parties, that of what you've been taught, and secondly that of the so-called truther community that are using the hidden truth to convince you of an even bigger lie. You see, so it works. Satanism and Luciferianism. The Satanisms just outright deny hidden history, while the Luciferians have took that hidden history and trying to enlighten you with it. That's the way it is. So a contemporary English doctor described Mesmer's technique in a vivid detail, and if you want, you can read it. But the method was supposed to provoke in the sick person exactly the kind of action beneficial to his recovery. So extraordinary tales of Mesmer's personal willpower over individuals are probably not exaggerated. Probably partly exaggerated, sorry. But it does bold confidence in his skills. La la la. So, one of the founders of hypnotherapy and mesmerized. So everyone's mesmerized. Okay. And this is how. Because of the centuries of lies and also of the applications of the television, we are all being manipulated. You see? And these are patterns. I'll leave them all in the descriptions, and you can learn a lot about these devices, about what they do, what signals they come at, and their pulse rates, etc., etc., how they can be used, right? And then if you're really more interested, then you go down further after reading all of this, right, about it, how it works. And then you go into the citations of, all the things connected to it, of how it got developed. And then you got similar documents as well. And you'll see that there is a lot of attention, let's call it, paid to creating devices to manipulate humanity. Manipulation of nervous system by electric fields. Again, you can do the same thing. 1997. When was this one? Further back, I think. 2001. And it goes further back if you've got the patience to know, where to look and how to look. This is just, a quick Google search. Screens can manipulate the nervous system, okay? And again, this is an article about it, about the war on our minds, about the prison camps coming to the school children. Wait. Excuse me, bless me, thank you. To myself. Oh, I know. See here, but again, shows you the principles. It shows you it has psychological effects. It tells you how it works and what you need to know about it. Because awareness is consciousness. You need to be aware that your mind can be programmed, and it is programmed. You need, in order to actually see reality to deprogram yourself from what you've been told. And the only way to do that is through truth. And unfortunately, that today is our only salvation. So, maps. Just a few examples of different projections. What's been used in the past. So the American polygonic map projection was used in the United States, early United States. The equal Earth projection. That's the spheroid oblate, pretty much. And then you've got the azimuthal equal distance projection. Does this look familiar to you? If you've been looking at my stuff, it should. And I'd like to read a few bits of this page, essentially. But before I do that, I'll just show you my drawings. My map, you know, using the NASA's GPS coordinate. So, you know, coordinates. And the perfect circle. So you see, I did both sides to it as well, just like they did, and they're identical. So what does that say? I think what it says is that this map here, this projection, is the globe Earth model. It is the globe Earth model. Does that mean the Earth's a globe? No. Not at all. Because, you know, let's be real, right? The Gleason model is exactly the same. I'm going to go into a few patterns in a minute to do with this. And a few of them, it's fascinating. I just would like to show you these things. But as one that studied a lot of ancient history, and I see unfortunately history repeating itself again today because of the same lies, you know, the Greek and Babylonian, even though the Greeks, just like the Masons still today, you know, they're our enemy, but they still believe the truth. But as I've showed you before, this map here is something that I think is closer to what it could have been what it could have looked like in the past. Something still not right with it, but it's close with the sort of Atlantean theme, geocentric rings. So we've talked about these, but anyway, so when you know that the first moonshots were filmed for a circular window and that they were in low Earth orbit, and this information's out there if you know again what to look for, but the video is clear that they stood a certain distance away from the circular window and filmed out of it, and then basically cropped that shot from and said it was Earth from one of these, this one, the first one, right? Enhanced it a little with bit of CGI, bit of artwork, but there has never been ever a picture from outer space. That's it, you know. Yes, there's the stitching together of this composite, right? More than likely using this model or this method of stitching it together to create the globe Earth model. Meanwhile, the Earth itself, right, is stationary and the stars rotate around us. Right. In this type of principle. So they say it's a spheroid oblate, but that's a spheroid oblate. In fact, we can go back and we'll show you that it's this one, right? That's a spheroid oblate. But the globe earth model itself is a representation of the perfect circle. But they tell you it's a spheroid oblate. Or even worse still, pear-shaped. People like this idiot that tell you that gravity pretty much is this mystical force that's holding this Copernican principle together. Yeah, it's a glue, alright? It's a Masonic glue. You've got to bear in mind that there's answers to every single thing out there. Every single thing that they've done, we have literally proved the opposite. So the perfect circle is being used to represent the globe earth model. Not a spheroid oblate, not pear-shaped, perfect circle. That should make you question things, right? It should make you question the whole entire narrative of the spinning ball earth theory, where these things are bulging out when they show you continual pictures of a perfect circle, because they used, right, a circular window during in low Earth orbit during the first, missions to the moon. Nonsense. And yet I'm a complete contradiction, because I can tell you they've been to the moon. Probably in the late 70s, because there's another light source up there. But it's because the moon's in low Earth orbit and it's a piece of tech, potentially. Most people will never believe that in the first place, right? So all these institutions, use the flat Earth model. Let's not call it the flat Earth model. Let's call it by its official name. All right, people? I'm tired of people call it like this flat Earth debate. Let's call it by what it's really called. So where is it? Oh, it's over here. It is the azimuttal equidistance projection, or the Gleason model, which is this one, patented in 1893. It's exactly the same. There's no difference between this one, Gleason, right? And he didn't even bother doing the other side. And this one, the azimuttal equidistance projection, which is based on the perfect circle. And yet I took the globe earth model coordinate system and I plotted the same thing. I plotted both of these, and in conclusion, it's got to be this one, right? Because of maps. Because first of all, they use this. The Masons use truth in plain sight to wind us up about the knowledge of creation. Those that see it, literally, right, rub it in our faces while everyone just is mesmerised. Yeah. Well, something like this comes along and shows otherwise. There is, let's say, what if the curvature was the Earth itself? What if this is leveled, right? From the top, this is the highest point here, and there's a high point going around, and it's leveled going all the way down to create rivers. Because you ask anyone that does study rivers, right, and they'll tell you it's all created. It's all man-made. It's all, well, say man-made, giant-made, or created, right? Created. So creation, this is what it's about. This is what it's been always going to be about. Whether you want to wake up to the knowledge of creation to see that you're created, that you have a soul, and you're here for a reason. Regardless of the shape of the earth, right? Doesn't matter. As long as you believe you've got a soul, you know, you do make a difference. I'm trying to make a difference. And I believe I have, in some way or form, helped people see the truth. And albeit it's very difficult to do so, you know, when I bounce around talking about all different things, just particularly. The azimuthal equidistance projection is an azimuthal map projection. It has the useful properties that all points on the map are at proportional correct distances from the center point, and that all points on the map are at the correct azimuth direction from the center point. A useful application for this type of projection is a polar projection which shows all meridians, lines of longitude are as straight, with distances from the pole represented correctly. The flag of the United Nations contains an example of polar azimuthal equidistance projection. Alright, they even point it out to you, folks. You know, and the United Nations doctrine, right, being employed under the guise of peace, right, is evil. So the history. While it may have been used by ancient Egyptians for star maps in some holy books, the earliest text describing the azimuthal equidistance projection is an 11th century work by al-Biruni. So he was an Iranian scholar and polymath during the Islamic Golden Age. He's been variously called as the father of Indology, father of comparative religion, father of modern geodesy, and the first anthropologist. You know, people were multi-skilled back in the day. You know, they didn't just do one thing. It's pretty much similar to today, isn't it? You know, in a way where you have all these various skilled jobs or roles within certain subjects. You know, archaeology is the prime one. You know, there's loads of it. You know, from botany to bones and the rest. So the projection appears in many Renaissance maps, and Gerardus Mercator used it for an inset of the North Pole, polar regions in sheet 13 in Legend 6 of his well-known 1569 map. Some of you may want to look at that, you know. In France and Russia, this projection is named Postel projection after Guillaume Postel, who used it. Let's see what about him. He was a French linguist, astronomer, Kabbalist, diplomat, professor, and religious universalist. All right. He used it for a map in 1581. Many modern star chart planispheres use the polar azimuth equidistance projection. So these are different examples. And then it gets into maths and then limitations. Again, no map of the earth is ever going to be accurate, I'm afraid, you know. And people believe the globe earth model's accurate, but in reality it's hiding things in plain sight, as always. It's a way for them to hide things, most definitely, while most people believe they live on a spinning ball. Especially when you can't, you know, because of the Antarctic Treaty. Except can't go to certain places, right? So there's a book. I found quite a few books, but I thought I'd bring this one up. Again, it's Google have censored this book for some reason. So some pages are limited from this book preview, right? They might go, all right, it's because it's a preview, but you pretty much got the whole book, but certain aspects of it, and I'll show you a part of it. So yeah, right. So this is table 4.2, map projections developed during the 20th century, and look at all of them. Right, there's a long list, and it continues, but the pages are missing. Right. So yeah, they're hiding a lot. They're hiding a great deal of things, particularly when it comes to, if you study the maps, what's missing through time. As we've tried to discuss on the other video, with an island just off the coast of Ireland called High Brazil that's no longer there. I'll leave it all in the description. This one here, again, it's the Gleason model, time chart 1893. Black and white Gleason model map. It's lovely, isn't it? So, next map. This one here. Inventor Alan C. Clark. No longer has wide applications, but did in the US, 1942. So look. Look at this one. There's the beginning of the globe Earth model being formed. Right? Ideas about how to form it. And I wonder what you can really see from these models, what they've hidden. Right? And what these things say, these patterns. If you read it, they might give you information. Like I said, there's a lot of information in these patents. For goodness sake, Keith. So Frederick D. Hartman. Again, ideas about how to form the globe Earth model. 1922. Even though the Gleason model's been made already, they're still at that point trying to make a globe Earth model up. Right? That's how important it is to them to keep you mesmerized, so you don't know the truth about the Earth you live on. There you go, Venter. Okay, next patent. And again, if you can go down, you can look at all the information, how it was made, all the different connections it has to other patents, similar documents. Another globe map. What's this one? It's the same one, updated. I think this one here is cool. This one's a cool one. Look at this one. Oh, it's a shame the zoom features rubbish. I think, there you go, this is Greenland, Iceland, Ireland, Britain. Right. No Antarctica yet. Australia. Something. No Antarctica's mapped in that. I think that's a great one. By W.G. Gingery. Filed November 27th, 1942. There's another one. The icosahedral map. 2 sheets by J.E. Crouch, 1944. There's the tilt, right? Let's tilt the Earth, tilt the axis. What's this? Any idea what all these dots are? Or is that you just don't bother to draw the Earth on it? Don't know. Again, it's the second page. Like this. Complicated or what, right? I suppose this is Antarctica, yeah, right? Yeah. I mean, yeah, you go. They got a perfect way to create the globe Earth model with this equal distance map, azimuth projection, right? When was it created? Because that's the Gleason model, right? All he had to do was use the same thing, but plot it the other way around. And yeah, I'm sure, obviously, Gleason didn't have GPS to map it like I did, right? And this is done by the GPS, right? I don't know. I'm tired of the arguments of these things anymore. I know it's not what we've been told. So, next one. I thought this one was quite interesting as well. 1997. Still trying to work it out. Next one. There you go. It's going to fold up like this. Lovely. Again, size of Greenland. Got Rio de Janeiro over there, are we? Yeah. Okay. Another one. Map, profile of the Earth's continents and methods of manufacturing world maps. It goes into different, you know. I can't go into each one of these. Like I said, I'll link them up if you want to look at each individual picture. But clearly, again, if you look, they are trying to create the globe Earth model. Even still, 2005, look. Flat disk. How to separate the circle. Geocentric circles going out. Pretty much what I did. And they did. interactive global map. And again, this goes into all the technological detail, and I'm not technological at all. I'm just showing you that if you really want to know some stuff, then try reading up on some patents. You know. Map in azimuthal equidistance hemispheric projection with reduced distortion. So this is the one, I do believe. Hang on. Yeah, it's probably the 2013. So this is reduced distortion of this map. Again, you see how they're trying to piece it together. And there's Antarctica down there. Australia. So yeah, they've just worked it out, pieced it all together. Lovely jubbly. What's this one? Oh yeah, it's that one. Same again, and then this is the one. World map for demonstrating properties of azimuthal equidistance hemispheric projection, 2013. Used in the US. Globe Earth model, folks. Right, there it is. So they've been trying to build this model for over 50 years. Just like they've been planning COVID-19 operation today for over 50 years. Just like they've planned everything that's going on around us today for over 50 years. They've put us in a massive state of hypnotic suggestion through the use of drugs and centuries of lies about and the manipulation of our nervous system, right? I can't change the time we live in. So anyway, I found this article. It's almost finished. Basically, there's Google. They got a patent dispute, you know, about how this digital presentation is being used, and essentially they stole it. Basically, they never pay for their crimes, these people. So this is the patent that's in dispute. Method and device for pictorial representation of space-related data. As you saw, you might saw that. That's it. That's what it's about. This dispute, this court case. Misuse of their technique and their patent. So it says in the Bible, one needs to be aware of their devices. And you sure do. So, please, I hope that you've watched till the end, and I hope that I've not mesmerised you into not looking into the truth. Right? I don't mean to scare you, but you need to know the truth. You need to be aware that everyone has been mesmerised. Please share, like and subscribe.